And we are live. How exciting. Hello, Metabolic Living. It's Laura. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the social media manager here at Metabolic Mastery Club, here at Metabolic Living. I also run our Metabolic Mastery Club. I'm in all the Facebook groups, etc. But today I'm really excited. If you can't tell, I'm a little jittery more than normal because we're being joined by Angela, who is amazing. You are like our first, really, since I've ever been here, Metabolic Living ambassador. And what's really cool is you started the programs right around when I started working here. So in summer of 2018, right?
Okay. Well, I started in January, the first time I did it.
Okay. So we were I just knew when I first came in, you were doing the program again, and I saw you in the Facebook group, and that's how I first knew of you, which was exciting. Do you want to just kind of say first, just like, hello, it's okay if you're nervous. You might be nervous. I'm nervous all the time on these. And maybe where you live and kind of just like what program you started with and how you found us?
Sure. Okay, I'll try to remember all that.
I'll help you.
So the first program I did was Metabolic Renewal, and that was 3.5 years ago when I started that. And then since then, I've done that program 4 times, and I've done Metabolic Prime 3 times, and I did the Immunity Challenge twice. And then I'm also part of the Metabolic Mastery Club and am working my way through all of the workouts and really enjoy all of the education that they have on that site as well. So, and I currently live in southwestern North Carolina, so the very edge of North Carolina. And I'm in a house of all guys. I'm married to my husband and I have 3 teenage boys. So that's it.
That's a lot though. Being the only woman, I can't imagine. How did you first, this is a question that we don't ask enough, that I'm always curious when I'm in the Facebook groups, especially when I'm interacting with people, is how did you find us? Because like everyone's answer is different. So how did you find us?
Yeah. So at the time that I came across a Facebook ad was how I first found Metabolic Renewal. And at the time I wanted to make some changes in my life. I wanted to be healthier. But I wasn't quite sure how to go about doing that. And so it came at the perfect time. And I love anything that's personalized. So it was like the hormone quiz, and I was like, ooh, personalization. So I was all excited about that. And then everything that Dr. Jade said made a whole lot of sense to me. So that was how I first got started.
So what is your hormone type then? That's a question we get asked, like people are confused. Has yours changed or is it the same?
No, it's been the same. I'm still a type 1 right now.
Lucky you. They're all great. They're all great types, and we all learn and grow and we change. So actually, there's no hormone type that's better than the others. I was just teasing her. Do you still follow kind of the recommendations for your hormone type, or have you kind of started to go and be your own metabolic detective now, like we talk about?
I would say somewhat. Like, if I remember correctly, there was a recommendation about, eating your carbs at, the beginning of the day instead of the end of the day, something like that. I never got that specific, but I also got the results I wanted. If I hadn't gotten results, I would have, gone a step further and gotten a little more serious with that. And then with my hormone type, Jade recommended 5,000 to 10,000 steps. And for some of the other hormone types, you're supposed to get even more steps. So I don't always, I'm more closer to the 5,000 steps. But again, I got results. If I hadn't, I would have, okay, I need to step up actually. So.
Well, I love what you said, because I think a lot of people get hung up on they get the program and they're like, I must follow everything exactly and do everything at once. Mm-hmm. And sometimes a lot of people say I'm really overwhelmed, mm-hmm. or how can I do all of this? And you just pointed out something really important. You got the results you wanted and you did what worked for you. And you knew if this part didn't work, you could come and add back and refine and change, but you didn't get so hung up on doing it perfectly.
Right. Yes.
which probably helped you do it successfully.
Right.
Right.
And I know he even talks about like, measuring your protein and, talks about measurements of different foods that you should get. And when I initially read it, I was like, oh my goodness, that's a lot. I just don't know about that. And so I didn't worry about that to begin with. And I still got results. Now, there may be a time when I'm sure there will come a time when you have to start, narrowing in on some things and being more specific, but that worked for me.
Well, and the good news is, those are there. So like, obviously we're going to keep growing and changing.
Right.
And, so we know we have those tools available to us.
Right.
Like when the time comes. So I guess, so to speak, it's like kind of comforts me to know that like, even if I'm not using all those tools now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is a question. I love this one. Someone said this to me and they were like, why do you like Dr. Jade? So I was like, I like it. What do you mean? Why does someone so
I actually love that question. I really love it. Okay, so I feel like Dr. Jade and I are kindred spirits because and I've never met him in person, but he just says it like it is. He's like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is the truth of the matter. And you can either accept it and make the changes or you cannot, but don't whine about it. If you're not going to make the changes, I mean, that's up to you, So I love that approach. And I'm very much like that in my own life, just with people. And so I like that about him. And he doesn't care too much about whether or not people love him. I mean, of course, everyone wants to be loved, but he's not like, that's not his intention that he wants people to like him. He's just like, I know what the material is. I'm going to teach it. And, it's up to you what you're going to do with it. So
I would agree with that too. I love that. Like, I think, he's not trying to be liked. He doesn't care. Cause some people are like, why is this dude? Like he even says like, why does this big, bald linebacker looking guy know about female hormones? And he doesn't care if people are like, dude, you're a dude.
Dude, you're a dude. Yeah.
He does just to get you to the point. And I think it's refreshing too, right? That someone doesn't care and he just wants to help people.
Yes.
And he does a good job. This is fun. Since we did talk about Dr. Jade, I feel like I would be remiss. This question wasn't sent to me because they just didn't know better because he's not in metabolic renewal. But what do you like about Dr. Jonny? Like, how are they different? Because you've seen them both then with Metabolic Mastery Club. And obviously Dr. Jonny doesn't do workouts or specialize in females, but maybe could you talk a little bit about their differences and what you like about him too? You don't have to.
Yes. So Dr. Jonny, I mean, he's what, 72 or something?
I'm not going to say his age on here because he might not like me for it, but he's a little bit more than that, I believe.
So, okay, so he's in his 70s. That's amazing. And what impresses me about him is that he's still a learner. At the age that he is, he still wants to learn and he's still like active in his own life. Like he plays tennis a whole bunch and he's active in socially, like he knows so many people, he has contacts with people, and he respects other people and wants to learn from them too, which I think is an amazing quality. And I know that he's lived out all this health stuff in his life. I've gotten to where I pay attention to how people live their lives, and I want to see people's actions, not just hear their words. And I know that he's been living this out in his life, all the things that he talks about, he lives them out. And I love that. I think that's an amazing quality.
I would agree. I think it's different. And the idea of being a lifelong learner, knowing that like he screwed up a lot in his past and he'll talk about that.
Yes.
Doesn't like say like, oh, that was bad. Like he doesn't seem like, he lets you make your choices and decisions and then learn how to grow from them. Even like when, something might change in science and he'll go, oh, well, maybe I was wrong about this. And still learning and growing. And I think that especially as we get older, it's a lot harder to like, be like, hey, I was wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would agree on that. And I love them both. I mean, they both have different specialties and different ways of interacting, but I think it's fun to learn from them both.
Right. Exactly.
Now, I guess, so this is a trick question. You probably can't answer, but maybe you can. Of all the programs you've done with us, do you have one that's just your absolute favorite?
I don't have a favorite. I think I like them for different reasons. I mean, I like Prime because it makes me feel so strong. I like Renewal because it emphasizes the womanhood, you know. So I feel more like a woman with Renewal. I feel more like a man with Prime.
I can understand that.
And then, I mean, I love the immunity challenge because I just think it's great to have extra workouts and more teaching as well through that. And I love Metabolic Mastery Club because I love the amount of information that's on there, and it's continuously being more information, you know, it's growing. And I love working my way through all of the over 300 and something workouts. It keeps me occupied. So I like them all for different reasons, and I like having the variety to choose from.
It is nice once you've done so many of our programs and you can figure out where you are in life and like what's the right fit for you. So like I've gone back and I'm doing a round of renewal right now because I felt like that was what I needed to do, but I still do the MMC workouts obviously as well, since I also do them before we share them, but like maybe not as heavy, you know, I follow the guidelines for renewal and try to like force myself to go for more walks, or for my hormone type, more stress reduction activities. It's something I'm really bad about scheduling. So like I knew if I did renewal and I told the ladies in the group it would force me to kind of follow through.
Exactly. And I think that's an important point, is knowing yourself. I think so much of this is about knowing yourself and what works for you. So in your case, you knew that you needed that extra accountability. If you like announced it, hey, I'm doing this, who's going to do it with me? Then it forces you to be more accountable because you don't want to not do it. And then people are counting on you.
Exactly. No, I knew if I said it, I have no choice but to
exactly
do it all. And that was, I think that is part of why I like the Prime Challenge, for example. Yeah. Because we have everyone doing it together. And when we did the immunity challenge the first time, it was like literally we were all in this together too, which is but it's cool how you can do anything on your own as well. And you still have the groups that keep you accountable.
Right. And for some of the women who are just starting and they feel like they need that extra accountability, I've seen sometimes women in the group will ask for an accountability partner. So feel free to do that. If you need someone to check in with you every day or once a week or whatever, and if you have a specific, you know, person, like if you want someone who's also starting at the same time, or maybe you want someone who's done it already a few times and you want someone who's already a little more experienced, or do you want someone with the same hormone type, or, you know, whatever the specifications are. I think we have tens of thousands of women in the group. I'm sure someone will be able to partner up with you. And I think that can be really helpful for people who need that.
Yeah, and we just encourage them to post in the group and have that person say, like, tag them in a post. So like you'll see, like we have a couple people who always will tag their workout partner in the stuff in the group. So they're really keeping, and then that way everyone else can learn and grow from it too. So it's really fun. And then like you'll see the person comment with like, they're like, okay, you know, I don't know, Judy, I'm making up this name. Here's my workout video, and then or post or whatever. And then Judy will comment back, or they'll send them together. And that's really fun. And it actually really encourages, I think, the rest of us to know that like, oh, okay, they're doing it. I can do it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what the group is there for. So don't feel bad about, you know, monopolizing the group in that way. So
it's not, and it makes my life more fun. I love seeing, I know I personally am inspired by all the stories and what everyone else is going through every day, you know? I love, and I this question I think is relevant to the groups, but also just like, what do you think is the most valuable thing that you've learned from all of our programs, whether it be in the group sphere or on your own? Like, what is the biggest takeaway that we can also then tell? So when someone watches this who's new, or maybe they've done this 3 times, maybe they'll go, oh, I learned that too, and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah. So I think that question comes down to figuring out what your why is, which I think is really important. When I first started, all I knew was that I wanted to lose 10 pounds and I wanted to get healthier and feel better, which is a very general statement, right? There's no way to like say how you're being healthy or feeling better. So, and that's fine. If that's where you're at and you bought the program and you're like, I just need to get ready for a wedding, or I just need to lose this 10 pounds or whatever, that's fine if that's where you're at. But now that I've been doing this 3.5 years, I feel like my why has become much more focused. So my first why is I want to age well. And I don't mean just I want to look well while I age, but I want my body and my mind to age well. And like I was just talking about Dr. Jonny, I'm so impressed with people who are older than myself. I'm 42. Anyone who's older than me that is really active and engaged in their own life and excited about their own life and just fully like in it instead of just sitting on the guidelines or the sidelines. I'm so impressed by that. And that's how I want to be as I get older. But you need to have a body that's healthy and a mind that's healthy in order to do that. And then my second why is I really believe that my life and my body and my health are all gifts from God. And so I want to use those, manage those well, grow those, develop them, and they're mine to do that with for as long as I have them, because you have your own. So it's your responsibility to manage and grow and develop yourself, but I am responsible for my own growth. And that, if you can, I don't know if that makes sense, but it has more to do with your identity. It's not just, oh, I'm doing this 12-week program or I want to lose the 10 pounds. It's like, this is my identity. Like I see myself as someone who manages her life well and manages her body well and takes care of herself. And so that's my identity. So that's going to last much longer than 12 weeks, much longer than reaching your goal weight. It's about the rest of my life. And that's what I want my life to look like. And I want to be that way for the rest of my life. So I think that's really important to realize what your why is. And if you're not there yet, that's fine, because I wasn't there when I started. But use this time while you're in the program to really think about it. What is my why? And why is this important to me? What do I want the rest of my life to look like? And once it becomes part of your identity and it's like your conviction, then you're going to be much more likely to stay in that direction instead of, people talk about falling off the wagon. You're not going to fall off the wagon. You're going to be like leading the wagon. So.
Oh, I just love that. And I think we have a lot of people who come and then they quit because maybe it really is. And sometimes they have these like outlandish goals where they think in 12 weeks or 22 days and then they're going to lose all this weight. And then suddenly they're going to emerge as a different person, just like magic fingers. And it doesn't work that way. So then they get frustrated.
Right.
And then they sometimes quit. But your approach and way of looking at it is, like we have these little goals that we want to accomplish in life, but like we have to like ultimately committing to this it's a physical program, but it involves like with your SHMEC, for example, those of you who don't know, because I know this one is really confusing. It's what stands for sleep, hunger, mood, energy, and cravings. And it helps you kind of identify things that like are kind of more like, would you say nebulous? Like it's harder for somebody to understand your energy levels and things. Those are usually something bigger going on than just like, yes, it's related to what you ate and what your workout was or how many steps you have, but it's also related to your mood and where you, and so like a lot of it does accompany personal transformation and commitment.
Right. Exactly.
And looking at why you want to do that and stick with it beyond, like, I think is where a lot of people get stuck because maybe that's scary to think about.
And it requires really looking inward. And sometimes people aren't comfortable with that. They'd rather do some steps that are like outward steps, but sometimes to make those changes, you really have to look inward at yourself and be conscious of what are you thinking? What kind of things are you telling yourself? And so it's hard for some people, but it's worth it. It's very worth it. If we're still live, Laura lost power. I lost my person. I'm just waiting for her to get back on. She's texting me. It's like, I lost power. So we're waiting. Thanks for sticking with us. This is my dog. Say hi.
Hey. Hello, everyone. I think we're back, but we're not on YouTube possibly. And